Hello and welcome back to the Academy of the Magical Art. I am Frater Ophiel, and today we are going to be discussing magical personas. This is a area or a subject that I've put a lot of thought into as of recent because of some recent changes in my own life. However, I want to start by examining the three selves. I've heard it stated on more than one occasion that we have three selves, three faces. We have the face that we show everybody, our presented self, the face that the world knows us as. We have our hidden self, the part of us that nobody knows about, the quote-unquote demons in our closets that we face, our shadow self. And then we have our true self, which is found somewhere in the middle, the depolarization of those two faces forming one true countenance. Now, as we progress through life, at different times, we will again have to take on different faces or put on different hats, if you will. These also are a form of persona. Every day when I get ready to go to work, I tell my wife that I'm putting on my costume because it is a three-piece suit, and I am just frankly not a three-piece suit guy. I prefer sweatpants and a t-shirt over anything else. Now, does that three-piece suit become my identity? Well, for the hours at work that I have to wear it, it does. In my particular line of work, they have a saying that you have to fake it until you make it. You have to wear that persona, you have to become that identity, and eventually you begin to live that identity, and eventually it becomes part of who you are. Now, me consciously not wanting to become that identity, but still happening to walk in it as a profession, I, as a magician, have to draw a line in my mind between costume on and costume off, this different persona that I'm wearing. Every time that I share a video, I introduce myself as Frater Ophiel. That is yet another persona. These are faces that I put on to help me perform a specific task or a job. Again, when I enter into a circle, when I'm getting ready to perform a magical act, I have yet another persona that I put on, which is another magical persona. When we get into the subject of taking on a magical name, that is exactly what you are doing for yourself. You are building a persona for yourself, which again is part of the reason when taking on a magical name that it is so important that you make sure that this is a name that fits you well and fits your personality well and fits your vibration well as a name that fits the vibration that you are trying to achieve. I oftentimes recommend doing numerology on magical names as well when taking on an actual name or a persona, because you are taking on a new vibration as a part of yourself. Now, some of you might ask why this is important, why any of this information is relevant to their own lives or their magical practices. Well, there are many reasons why this information is relevant. Partially because it is very important to not only pay very close attention to who you are trying to become, your end goal, the person that you want to be a year from now, or 5 years from now, or 10 years from now, so that you can consciously make different adjustments to your persona to fit that end goal and help you achieve that manifestation. But it also prepares us and places us in a specific mindset. And as we know from recent videos, our mind is where all of the magic begins. Everything first takes place in the mind and then manifests into physical reality. Why would it then not be advantageous for us to take on a persona that will help us to go into that mindset and then in doing so help us to achieve the manifestation that we are striving for? Again, this is why they say fake it till you make it. Put the persona on, put yourself in that mindset, walk in those shoes, and eventually you will become that persona, or you will achieve that manifestation. It literally becomes like role-playing until it integrates as part of your life. You can't just do it for a day or for 2 days or for 3 days and expect it to work. This is something that has to be done for months until it just becomes a natural part of who you are. If you listen to anybody well-versed in the law of attraction or in manifesting wealth, or if you were to read the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill or listen to some of Bob Proctor's work, for instance, you would hear repetitively that you have to put yourself into a wealth mindset in order to attract wealth. Most people are under the impression that wealth has to come first and then you put yourself in a wealth mindset. Well, that's very, very inaccurate. The mindset that you are in will create the reality that you walk in. If you are in a negative mindset, you will live in a negative reality. If you are in a positive mindset, you will live in a positive reality. If you have a poverty mindset, you will always be wanting for more and you will always be in poverty, no matter what gets brought before you. If you are in a wealth mindset, no matter where you are, poor or rich, you will always be attracting more wealth and abundance into your life. And this mindset can become a persona until it actually integrates into part of your reality. So again, going back to the quote unquote work costume that I have to put on every day that I put that costume on, I am putting myself in a wealth mindset to attract abundance to myself, to my home, and to my family. If I were to go to work in sweatpants and a sweatshirt, I would not very well be able to do that. That would not be advantageous to the manifestation that I'm trying to achieve. So when looking at it this way, it becomes very, very important not only how you think or how you compose yourself, how you act, but it is also important as to how you dress yourself every day before you leave your home. If you dress yourself in any magical oils before you leave your home, you will then be attracting those vibrations. Why would the literal clothes you're putting on your body be any different? It puts you in a mindset. Think about how color therapy will affect somebody with the clothes that they're wearing. If they're wearing red, they're more apt to be passionate, romantic, loving, maybe even angry, a different spectrum of passion. Blue is more tranquil. White brings off purity, black exudes power, so on and so forth. Begin to consider these things when you prepare yourself every day and you put on the persona that you are going to wear when you exit your home and you enter the material world that exists around you. Having a good understanding of this will then help you to have a good understanding on how to work with the personas already built within yourself, being the presented self, the shadow self, and the true self. Many people will create differentiating lines between these three personas and forget that they're all parts of the same person. People will say that they are struggling with their demons. Well, those demons, although yes, they are being manifested as being externalized, an external source of dysfunction or disharmony or negativity, they still exist within the self, and then they are thus a part of the self that can be integrated and gain control over, an aspect of the persona that does not have to control you, but rather you can control it and dictate how much power it has over your mental state. We all go through struggles within our mental state on a daily basis. It's how we deal with those struggles and how we handle those struggles that makes a huge difference. Oftentimes people think of their mind as an external source that they have no control over, like some kind of rogue running chainsaw just running around hacking people's legs off because they have no control over the thoughts that are going through their mind. In such cases, you'll very oftentimes find people that can't stand the quiet, that have to have something going on around them in order for them to have any sense of peace within themselves, because it drowns out the voices or the thoughts or the memories from the past or whatever. When you learn that your mind is a tool, a sharp tool, but a tool nonetheless, that you can learn to master and gain control over rather than having it have control over you, you can then begin to use it to create the reality that you want for yourself. And that then takes those quote unquote demons or that shadow self, puts it in a completely different perspective, puts it in check, and takes its power away. You then regain control over the mind and can then use it as a tool that it is intended to be. Coming to an understanding of these three aspects of ourselves and learning to depolarize and balance them back out and integrate them into one centralized whole is part of the magnum opus that we talked about in previous videos, the great work of self-transformation. Going through this process allows us to purge much of the impurities that we carry around within ourselves and take ourselves from the base metal that is lead and raise our vibration and our frequency up to the beautiful gold that we are intended to be. This is one of the many steps required to take in order for us to begin to not only purify ourselves and bring ourselves closer to our divine state, but also to be able to gain control over the universes that we are manifesting for ourselves. Thinking back to the Hermetic principle of the all being mind, everything being mental, everything is a reflection of our mental state, would it then not make sense to learn to gain control over our mental state, and in doing so be able to gain control over the environment around us? That entire process starts with not only recognizing these different parts of ourselves, but integrating them into one solid whole. And then being able to use personas, create personas for ourselves that we can literally walk in, act out, and see through to create the realities that we are trying to achieve for ourselves. A word of caution when it comes to creating personas and creating magical names. I've known many people who take and create a magical name for themselves, a circle name, and they get all excited. They get all titillated because they have a magic name now. And then they decide that they want to share it with everybody and spread it all over Facebook. Do not do that, plain and simple. Keep it to yourself or to your close friends or your close circle, if at all. My circle name is completely different than my magical persona. I am the only person that knows that name, and there is a very, very strong reason for that. Because the more people that know that identity, that know that name, the more people that can then draw upon it and draw power from it. We know that the power rests within the name. Why would I want to give somebody a key to my magical power by giving them my magical name? I wouldn't. It's silly. So I urge you, be very, very private about your magical name and be very selective about who knows it. Do not change your Facebook name to your magical persona or your circle name. Do not blab it all over the place. Keep it to yourself. It is a private magical thing that you are trying to manifest into your reality. Doing that is like turning your magical persona into Swiss cheese and just blasting holes through it, zapping power from it, and giving other people access to that persona, which you do not want to do. The magical process can be a very exciting one, and one that you would want to share with people that you are close with and you care about. However, it is very important that we do that with some education and some intelligence, some discernment, and some caution. Most of the time, when it comes to sharing information, less is more. So don't do it. That'll about wrap it up for today. Thank you for joining me back at the Academy of the Magical Arts. And until next time, blessed be.